Welcome to our channel HD Rare Coin 111, your go-to spot for uncovering the incredible world of rare US coins. If you've ever wondered if your old pennies, nickels, or dimes are worth more than face value, you're about to find out. In today's video, we'll be exploring some truly rare coins and their shocking values. And if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. So let's jump in. Top 1. We're going deep into the incredible story of the 1967 United States Washington quarter dollar. It may look like any other coin you've handled 1,000 times, but in rare cases, this unassuming piece of metal has fetched prices that'll leave you stunned. Let's rewind to 1967. The United States was in the midst of significant change. The space race was heating up, the Vietnam War was intensifying, and cultural revolutions were sweeping across the nation. But while all eyes were focused on politics, war, and Woodstock-era shifts, something seemingly minor was happening behind the scenes at the U.S. Mint, something that would later send shockwaves through the world of coin collectors. In 1967, the U.S. Mint was recovering from a serious coin shortage that had gripped the country in the early 1960s. As part of the solution, the Mint made the decision to remove mint marks from coins struck between 1965 and 1967. That means if you look closely at a 1967 quarter, you won't see the usual D for Denver or S for San Francisco anywhere on the coin. They were all struck without a mint mark, regardless of which facility produced them. This made the 1967 coins a bit of an enigma, especially when it comes to identifying their origins and potential rarity. The 1967 Washington quarter, like others of its kind from that era, features a left-facing profile of George Washington on the obverse. The words "Liberty" arch over his head. "In God We Trust" sits just beneath his chin, and the date, 1967, is centered at the bottom. The reverse shows the classic heraldic eagle design, wings outstretched, perched on a bundle of arrows with olive branches below, surrounded by the inscriptions United States of America and quarter dollar. Unlike quarters minted before 1965, which were composed of 90% silver, the 1967 quarter was made of a clad composition, an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core. It weighs 5.67 grams and has a reeded edge. Millions of these were minted, and at first glance, there's nothing to suggest they're anything special. But that's where the story takes a surprising turn. While most 1967 quarters are common, a rare handful have captured the attention of collectors around the globe. Why? Because of striking errors, extremely high grades, or unusual characteristics that make them stand out from the crowd. These aren't just coins, they're treasures, and the hunt for them is very real. One of the most fascinating aspects of these rare quarters lies in minting errors. A famous example is the double die error, where the design is impressed more than once due to a misalignment. This results in slight, often hard to spot duplications in the letters or numbers, like Liberty or the date, 1967. Another type of valuable error is the off-center strike. This occurs when the coin blank is not perfectly positioned in the press, causing part of the design to be missing or shifted dramatically to one side. And then there are wrong planchet errors, where a quarter is accidentally struck on a blank meant for a different denomination, like a penny or a dime, resulting in a coin that's the wrong color, size, or weight. Now let's talk condition. Most of the 1967 quarters you'll come across today are worn, scratched, or discolored from decades of circulation. But a small number have survived in pristine condition, completely untouched by time. These are known as mint state coins, and they are graded on a scale from 1 to 70. A grade of MS65 or higher means the coin is in near flawless shape, with its original luster, sharp details, and no signs of wear. Combine mint condition with a rare error, and suddenly, you're looking at a coin that's not just collectible, it's exceptional. What makes this story even more exciting is that many of these rare coins are still out there. In pocket change. In collections passed down from grandparents. In dusty boxes and forgotten coin jars. Most people wouldn't even notice them. But those who know what to look for can turn an ordinary day into an extraordinary discovery. And now, for the moment that will make you rethink every quarter you've ever seen. One particular 1967 Washington quarter, struck with a rare mint error and preserved in nearly perfect condition, stunned the numismatic world when it was put up for auction. After a heated round of bidding, this single 25-cent coin, this little piece of everyday American currency, was sold for an incredible $130,000. Yes, you heard that right. 1 quarter. 25 cents. $130,000. It's stories like this that remind us of the magic hidden in the everyday. A coin that could be sitting in your kitchen drawer or tucked in your car's cup holder might be worth a small fortune. All it takes is a little knowledge, a keen eye, and a bit of curiosity. So, the next time you're handed change at the store, or you hear a coin drop on the floor, don't ignore it. Take a moment. Check the date. Examine the details. You might just be holding a piece of history. And if you're lucky, if the stars align and you've got that one extraordinary coin, you could be holding a treasure worth far more than 25 cents. Thank you for watching, and remember, keep your eyes on your coins. Because that next rare quarter might just be the key to a truly unbelievable discovery. Top 2. We're exploring the incredible story of the 1971 Washington quarter dollar, a coin that's been part of everyday life for over 50 years, but in rare and remarkable cases, has been discovered to be worth far more than anyone could have imagined. The Washington quarter has long been a symbol of American history and pride. First minted in 1932 to commemorate George Washington's 200th birthday, the design was created by sculptor John Flanagan and has remained one of the most iconic and familiar coins in U.S. currency. By 1971, the Washington quarter had already been circulating for nearly 4 decades, but that year marked a unique period in American minting history, one that would eventually give rise to a handful of highly valuable coins. Let's start with the basics. The 1971 Washington quarter is composed of a copper-nickel clad, which means it has an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel, bonded to a core that is entirely copper. This was a change from earlier quarters minted before 1965, which contained 90% silver. The 1971 version weighs 5.67 grams and has a diameter of 24.3 millimeters. The obverse features the familiar profile of George Washington, facing left, with the word Liberty above. In God We Trust, to the left, and the date 1971, positioned at the bottom. The reverse shows the heraldic eagle, wings spread wide, perched atop a bundle of arrows, with olive branches below and inscriptions reading, United States of America, and quarter dollar. Millions of these quarters were produced that year, over 258 million from the Philadelphia Mint alone, with no mint mark, and over 258 million more from the Denver Mint, which can be identified by a small d beneath the date. On the surface, these coins seem common. They're used daily for change, parking meters, and toll booths. But not all 1971 quarters are created equal. A small number of them, either due to rare mint errors, unusual compositions, or near perfect condition, have gained legendary status in the coin collecting world. Let's talk about what sets these special quarters apart. One of the most valuable features to look out for is a minting error. A prime example is the double die. This happens when the coin's design is accidentally struck twice with a slight misalignment, creating a shadow or doubling effect in the lettering or date. For the untrained eye, it might just look blurry, but for an expert, it's a sign of rarity and value. Another type of error is the off-center strike, where the coin is not properly aligned during the minting process. This results in a quarter where part of the design is shifted or missing altogether. The more off-center the strike, the more unique the coin becomes, especially if the date is still visible. And then there's the highly prized wrong planchet error. This is when a coin is struck on a blank meant for a different denomination. Imagine a quarter struck on a nickel or even a foreign coin blank. Suddenly, the coin is lighter, smaller, or has a different color or finish, and collectors go wild for these rare specimens. But beyond mint errors, condition plays a massive role in a coin's value. Coins are graded from 1 to 70 on the Sheldon scale, with a 70 being a perfect, mint state coin showing no signs of wear, scratches, or handling. Most coins that make it into our hands have been in circulation for years, bouncing between pockets and cash registers, losing their luster along the way. But on rare occasions, a coin somehow escapes circulation and remains in pristine, uncirculated condition. These coins are known as mint state, and can be incredibly valuable on their own. Combine that with a rare error or an unexpected die variety, and the price can climb sky-high. So, how high are we talking? In one jaw-dropping case, a 1971 Washington quarter, struck in error on the wrong metal planchet, and preserved in near-perfect mint state condition, became the centerpiece of a high-profile auction. Its features were so unusual, its preservation so flawless, that collectors from around the world took notice. The bidding was intense. Everyone wanted a piece of this rare American treasure. And when the hammer finally fell, the winning bid left everyone stunned. That single, 25-cent coin, something many of us wouldn't even notice in a handful of change, was sold for an extraordinary $110,000. Yes, a quarter. Just 25 cents. Sold for $110,000. It's not just about money, it's about the thrill of the hunt. It's about discovering a hidden story in something so small, so everyday, that most people never take the time to notice it. The 1971 Washington quarter is more than just currency. It's a piece of history. A time capsule from a different era. And in some cases, it's a life-changing treasure waiting to be found. So, the next time you get change at the grocery store, or you find a forgotten coin in your couch cushions, take a moment. Look closely. Check the date. Examine the lettering. See if the design looks off-center or if anything seems unusual. Because in a world where most people overlook the little things, the ones who pay attention just might uncover something incredible. Thanks for joining us today. Don't forget to like this video if you found it fascinating, subscribe for more coin stories and collecting tips, and most importantly, check your change. Because the next great discovery could be sitting in the palm of your hand. Top 3. We're turning our attention to one of those everyday objects with hidden potential, the 1972 United States of America Washington quarter dollar. You may have seen hundreds of these in your lifetime. You may have one right now. But did you know that under the right circumstances, this simple quarter has been known to fetch a mind-blowing amount of money? Let's dive into the history and mystery of the 1972 Washington quarter. The Washington quarter, first minted in 1932, was created to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington, America's first president. The design, crafted by artist John Flanagan, became a staple of American coinage and has stood the test of time for decades. With Washington's iconic left-facing profile on the front and a majestic eagle perched on a bundle of arrows on the back, the quarter became one of the most recognized coins in U.S. history. By 1972, the Washington quarter had already seen major changes, especially in its composition. Following the Coinage Act of 1965, the U.S. Mint had shifted away from using silver in quarters. The 1972 version, like other quarters minted after 1965, was made from a copper-nickel-clad composition. It had a pure copper core with outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel. It weighed 5.67 grams and had a diameter of 24.3 millimeters. Though it lacked the silver shine of earlier versions, it still carried a look of strength and tradition, one that millions of Americans saw and used every single day. Now, here's where things get interesting. While the majority of 1972 quarters are worth only their face value, a very small number have become legendary among coin collectors. Why? Because of rare minting errors, unique variations, and extraordinary condition. These factors can take an ordinary coin and transform it into a valuable collector's item worth thousands, or even tens of thousands, of dollars. Let's begin with minting errors. These are mistakes that happen during the coin's production process at the U.S. Mint, and they are the stuff collectors dream about. One of the most prized types of mint errors is the doubled die. This occurs when the die, the metal stamp used to imprint the coin's design, shifts slightly between strikes. The result is a coin with doubled letters, numbers, or details that appear slightly shadowed or blurry. On a 1972 Washington quarter, that could mean a doubled "Liberty in God We Trust," or even the date 1972. If you come across one of these, you're looking at a coin that's worth a serious second glance. Another highly collectible error is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin blank isn't correctly aligned during minting, resulting in a coin where the design is shifted dramatically to one side. Depending on how far off-center it is, and whether the date remains visible, these quarters can be incredibly rare and sought after. There are also instances of quarters being struck on the wrong planchet. Imagine a 1972 quarter accidentally minted on a nickel blank or a foreign coin disc. The coin might appear smaller, thinner, or even a different color. These minting anomalies are rare and incredibly valuable. But even without an error, the condition of the coin plays a huge role in its value. Most coins, once released into circulation, go through the wear and tear of daily use. Scratches, nicks, discoloration, these all bring down a coin's grade. But if a coin somehow escapes circulation and remains untouched, it can receive a very high grade on the Sheldon scale, which runs from 1 to 70. A coin graded MS-65 or higher is considered mint state, and is much more desirable to collectors. Combine a rare error with a mint state grade, and now you're talking about a coin that can spark bidding wars at auctions. And yes, this has happened. In fact, one such 1972 Washington quarter, featuring an extremely rare error and preserved in pristine condition, caught the attention of collectors across the country. Its details were crisp, its luster unmatched, and the error was one of a kind. This coin wasn't just rare, it was nearly perfect, and that made it invaluable. When this coin was put up for auction, it attracted intense interest. Collectors and investors knew they were looking at something truly exceptional. And as the bidding climbed higher and higher, one thing became clear: this was no ordinary quarter. By the time the auction ended, this single 1972 Washington quarter, just 25 cents in face value, was sold for a jaw-dropping $105,000. Yes, you heard that correctly. A quarter, worth just a fraction of a dollar, ended up selling for $105,000. It's not a myth. It's not a legend. It's a real-world example of how something small, simple, and often overlooked can turn out to be life-changing. So what's the takeaway here? Pay attention to your change. Take the time to inspect the coins you carry, especially those from older years like 1972. Look for anything unusual, off-center strikes, doubling in the text, odd coloring, or coins that appear in unusually sharp condition. These details could be the difference between a common coin and a rare treasure, because while most people see a quarter as just a quarter, those who know what to look for see something far more exciting. A chance. A discovery. A story waiting to be told. And maybe, just maybe, a fortune waiting to be found. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel for more fascinating coin stories, and share it with anyone you think might have a little treasure hiding in their pocket. You never know, your next great find could be just one quarter away. Top 4. We're diving deep into the incredible story of the 1974 United States of America Washington quarter dollar, a coin that most people overlook, but in rare and specific cases, has shocked the collecting world with its value. Let's start by looking at the coin itself. The Washington quarter has been a part of American currency since 1932, originally created to honor the 200th birthday of the nation's first president, George Washington. Sculpted by John Flanagan, the design became a staple of U.S. coinage and remained largely unchanged for decades. By 1974, the Washington quarter was still sporting that same iconic profile, Washington facing left, with the word, Liberty, across the top, the motto, In God We Trust, to the left, and the date, 1974, just below. On the reverse side, the bold image of an eagle with its wings spread wide, clutching arrows and olive branches, symbolizes American strength and peace, surrounded by the words, United States of America, and quarter dollar. The composition of the 1974 quarter, like all quarters minted after 1965, was copper-nickel clad. That means it was made with a pure copper core sandwiched between layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel. This change, which eliminated silver from regular circulating quarters, helped the U.S. Mint save costs during a time of rising silver prices. These coins weighed 5.67 grams and were minted in enormous quantities at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. The Philadelphia versions have no mint mark, while the Denver ones are marked with a small D on the front of the coin, just to the right of Washington's ponytail. So if billions of these coins were made and none of them contained silver, what could possibly make a 1974 quarter so valuable? The answer lies in a perfect storm of rarity, condition, and minting mistakes. While most 1974 quarters are extremely common and only worth face value, a small handful of them are anything but ordinary. These rare examples feature errors that occurred during the minting process, mistakes that turned a simple coin into a prized collector's treasure. One of the most desirable types of errors is the doubled die. This happens when the die that strikes the coin's design is misaligned slightly during the minting process. The result is a coin where the text or numbers appear to have a shadow or duplicate image. For a 1974 quarter, a doubled die could show up in the word Liberty, in the date 1974, or even in God We Trust. These doubled die coins are exceptionally rare and highly sought after by collectors. Another incredibly valuable error is the off-center strike. When the blank coin isn't properly aligned in the press, the design is stamped off to one side. If the strike is off-center enough to be noticeable, but not so far that it obscures the date, it creates a coin that stands out immediately to anyone with a trained eye. And then there's perhaps the most fascinating of all, the wrong planchet error. Imagine a quarter that's accidentally struck on a blank meant for a penny, nickel, or even a foreign coin. Suddenly, the coin's weight, color, and dimensions are all wrong, and that mistake instantly transforms it into a numismatic gem. But even if a 1974 quarter doesn't have an error, it could still be worth serious money if it's in pristine condition. That means no scratches, no wear, and full original luster from the day it was minted. Coins in this state are graded using the Sheldon scale, which runs from 1 to 70. A coin graded MS-65 or above is considered a mint state coin, and the higher the grade, the more valuable it becomes. Very few coins ever make it to MS-67 or MS-68, and when they do, collectors take notice. Now, you might be thinking, what are the chances I'll find one of these rare coins? Well, here's the thing, they're still out there. These valuable coins weren't created for collectors. They were minted for circulation, just like the one in your pocket or under your car seat. That's what makes it so exciting. Every time you get change at the store or dig into a coin jar at home, there's a chance, however small, that you could come across something extraordinary, and the proof is in the auction records. One stunning example of a 1974 Washington quarter, featuring a rare error and graded in near-flawless condition, sent shockwaves through the numismatic community when it came to market. Its details were sharp. Its surfaces were untouched. And the error it displayed made it truly one of a kind. Collectors battled fiercely for the chance to own it. The bidding climbed higher and higher, until finally the gavel fell. The final sale price? An unbelievable $95,000. Yes, that's right. One single 1974 quarter. Just 25 cents in face value. Sold for $95,000. It's a powerful reminder that some of the most valuable things in the world aren't flashy or obvious. Sometimes, they're hiding in plain sight, just waiting to be discovered. So, the next time you find a quarter in your change, don't just toss it aside. Take a closer look. Examine the date, the design, the details. Because if you find the right one, a rare mint error, a perfect condition piece, you could be holding a small fortune in your hand. Thanks for joining us on this incredible journey into the world of rare coins. If you found this story fascinating, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more amazing coin content, and share this video with someone who might just have a treasure waiting to be discovered. Keep your eyes open, because the next great coin could be just one quarter away. Top 5. we're diving into the surprising story of the 1990 United States of America Washington quarter dollar, a coin that might appear plain and common at first glance, but in rare and exceptional cases, has proven to be worth far more than anyone could imagine. Let's take a moment to appreciate the coin itself. The Washington quarter is one of the most iconic pieces of American currency. It first made its appearance in 1932 as a tribute to George Washington's 200th birthday, and over the decades, it has remained a symbol of strength, history, and tradition. In 1990, the design was still holding strong. On the front, a bold and noble profile of George Washington facing left, the word, Liberty, above his head, the national motto, In God We Trust, to the left, and the year, 1990, stamped firmly beneath his image. On the reverse side, we see the powerful eagle perched on a bundle of arrows, wings spread wide, with olive branches just beneath, symbolizing America's readiness for war and desire for peace. By the time 1990 rolled around, the Washington quarter had long abandoned its silver roots. No longer made from 90% silver like the pre-1965 versions, the 1990 quarter was composed of a copper-nickel-clad alloy, an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core. It weighed 5.67 grams and had a reeded edge, just like its predecessors. Millions upon millions of these coins were minted that year in both Philadelphia and Denver. Coins from the Philadelphia Mint bear no mint mark, while those from Denver have a small D, just to the right of Washington's ponytail. At a glance, the 1990 Washington quarter doesn't appear special. It was mass-produced, widely circulated, and used for everything from paying tolls to feeding arcade machines. But here's where things get truly fascinating. A select few of these coins have something different. Something rare. Something valuable. Collectors all over the world are always searching for unique coins that break the mold, coins with minting errors, coins in extraordinary condition, or coins struck under highly unusual circumstances. And believe it or not, the 1990 Washington quarter is no exception. There are versions of this coin that have stunned the numismatic community by selling for massive sums of money. So, what exactly makes some of these quarters so valuable? First, we have to talk about minting errors. Errors can occur during the coin production process, and when they do, they can transform a common coin into a one-of-a-kind rarity. One of the most popular and valuable mint errors is the doubled die. This error happens when the die used to stamp the design onto the blank coin shifts slightly between strikes. It causes a duplication or shadowing effect on the text or numbers. A 1990 quarter with a doubled die could have a blurred or doubled appearance in the word, Liberty, or the date. These aren't just mistakes, they're collector gold. Another major error that increases a coin's value is an off-center strike. This occurs when the blank coin is not correctly aligned in the minting press, resulting in a design that's pushed to one side. Depending on how far off-center the strike is, and whether the date remains visible, these coins can be worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars. Then there's the rare and exciting wrong planchet error, where a quarter is accidentally struck on a coin blank intended for a different denomination. Imagine a 1990 quarter that weighs less, looks more like a penny, or has a different edge. These unusual errors turn heads at auctions and send collectors into bidding frenzies. But even without an error, a 1990 quarter can be highly valuable if it's in exceptional condition. Most coins we use daily are covered in scratches, dirt, and signs of wear. But some coins, known as mint state coins, somehow avoid circulation and remain in pristine condition for decades. These coins are graded on the Sheldon scale, where 70 is a perfect, flawless coin. A 1990 quarter graded MS67 or higher is extremely rare, and its value rises accordingly. Combine that with a unique error or limited production detail, and the results can be astonishing. So how rare are these valuable 1990 quarters? Well, the US Mint doesn't set out to create rare coins, which makes finding one even more thrilling. These coins weren't meant to be collector's items. They were minted to be used, spent, and forgotten. That's what makes finding one so rewarding. These rare versions are like hidden treasures buried in the everyday, waiting to be discovered by someone who knows what to look for. And yes, some of these coins have already been found and sold. One particular 1990 Washington quarter, featuring a dramatic and rare mint error, and preserved in nearly flawless condition, recently made headlines in the coin collecting world. Collectors recognized immediately that this was no ordinary quarter. It had the perfect storm of rarity, beauty, and uniqueness. When it went to auction, the excitement was electric. Bidders competed fiercely, each one hoping to walk away with a piece of numismatic history. And when the auctioneer finally brought down the gavel, the final selling price shocked everyone in the room. That single 1990 Washington quarter, just 25 cents in face value, was sold for an incredible $65,000. Yes, you heard that correctly. A coin that most people would overlook. A coin you might have in your wallet right now. $65,000. This story is more than just about money, it's about discovery. It's about being aware of the treasures that surround us every day, hidden in plain sight. So the next time you receive a handful of change, don't ignore it. Take a closer look at your quarters. You never know when you might find something truly extraordinary, a coin that holds a secret, a story, and maybe even a small fortune. Thank you for watching, and if this story inspired you, be sure to like this video, subscribe for more fascinating coin tales, and share it with friends and family who might be holding on to something rare without even knowing it. Keep checking your change, because the next legendary coin might just be waiting in your very own pocket.